Looks like it is 12:02 p.m. So I would like to be respectful of everyone's time. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. My name is Mary Angie Carriles, and I am the HAR Department Manager for Professional Development. Welcome to today's webinar. Let's talk down payment resource. Let's see what's out there. We have today Leticia Graham with us, but before I formally introduce her, I would like to remind everyone that today's presentation is being recorded and we will share the presentation with you via email. So be on the lookout for that. Obviously, watching live is always a better experience. You get to ask all the questions that you have, and Leticia gets to answer all your questions live. Today's webinar, it's not for CE credit, so you do not need to be on camera. We cannot see you or hear you. And now it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Leticia Graham. She's energetic, electric, and excellent celebrity real estate broker. Leticia Graham has proven authority in the art of leading a team of fearless and dedicated entrepreneurs in the world of real estate. This proud Houston native is a graduate of the University of Houston downtown, earning a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. As a real estate professional in the Houston market, Leticia has led her team to greater heights. In addition to her success as a broker, she's also led on the local and national level of NAREP. Leticia currently serves NAREP as the president of Women Council of NAREP, creating home ownership one family at a time. Thank you, Leticia, for everything you do. If you don't know Leticia, you're about to meet her today and you love her as much as we do here at HAR. She's a great resource for us. And I am very excited for you to be here today with us and join us for this webinar.
Thank you so very much. I'm super excited as well. Look, for those of you that don't know me, I get extremely excited. So when I get excited, I start to talk too fast. So just let me know and I'll tone it down a little bit. Thank you guys so much for joining. As stated, my name is Leticia Grant. I'm the Executive Manager of TAS Realty Group. I'm also a Texas Affordable Housing Specialist, and I actually practice what I preach. So the whole one family at a time is what we're going to talk about today on Let's Talk Down Payment Resources. This particular topic is near and dear to my heart because what I have the opportunity to do today is bring in some of the resources that have been offered to you by HAR and some practical knowledge. So we'll do two things. We'll talk about the down payment resource app that you all, the down payment resource button that you all have on your HAR platform. And then we'll talk about one very specific product, and that's a down payment assistance product. So without further ado, we'll get started. We only have an hour and a half, and I tell you, time will fly. So what is the purpose? And it is the bridge for home ownership. What is the purpose of down payment resource? The number one obstacle for most home buyers is down payment assistance, but help is out there. So down payment resource is a concept for home buyers with down payment assistance, and it'll help you provide them with tools to be able to bridge that gap between what's out there. As we all know, our market does not really reflect what our standard area median income is. So that's what down payment assistance is used for. It is a tool. But in addition to that, due to or thanks to HAR, we have down payment resource. And for those of you that have not seen down payment resource, we will go over that briefly today. Tools you can use. So, and I love this video. When I saw it, I was like, this is perfect for my class. So Real Estate Pros, you can send your personal link to your client and build your pipeline. You can also find down payment assistance help. And then there are resources that are provided on the down payment resource that you can actually provide to your clients. For those of you that are not familiar with the down payment resource, what down payment resource does is they go out to different counties and different communities and they search for all the down payment assistance products that are offered to any particular area. And based on that, they compile the information, the links directly to the websites, as well as how do you qualify for these products. Most down payment assistance programs are income specific, income versus household. So it gives you the opportunity to be able to give that information and that knowledge to your clients. What I would do, I would recommend, if you're not practicing in this particular area all the time, if this is not your niche, affordable housing, and you're not as familiar with the products, I would type in an address of an area that my clients are searching in so that I can familiarize myself with the different products prior to exposing the clients to those specific products. But you're probably saying, Letitia, exactly what are you talking about? And look, what did I do? I went all the way to the end of my slideshow. Sorry about that. Like, thank you. Why is that there? Okay. Okay. Check your eligibility now. If you have not already utilized the service that is provided to you from HAR, it is my suggestion that you play around with it. So how do you check your eligibility? Your client can use your personal link. So what I would say is send out your personal link and to check the availability. There are specific program requirements. By completing the eligibility form, your client will only be exposed to the programs they are eligible for. For an example, while on the site here, you would put in an address. For an example, if you're searching for 128 Tite Street, you put in that address if that's a property you're interested in, along with the zip code. As a general search, there are a few additional questions that it will ask you. Once you plug in all of that information, it will populate the number of programs that your client is eligible for. Now, that number can be up to 32. But some of the programs are duplicated. So that's something else that we can talk about to make sure that you understand, okay, well, this program is a duplicate program. And then in addition to that, making sure that you do indeed understand where those funds are coming from. Stacking is an option, but the site doesn't give you how to stack programs. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in today's webinar. But if you all were to scan, for those of you that are watching, I know it's a holiday weekend, so most of you are probably on your phones, but for those of you that are actually on your computer, you could actually scan that QR code. Now that QR code would take you directly to mine. So everyone is given their own personal link. And when you plug in the information, when you scan the QR code, you can plug in the information of a property that you're interested in, and then it will give you the number of down payment assistance programs that you are indeed eligible for. So this just says upon completion of each question, the number of programs will automatically adjust. The questions are directly related to the individual program's eligibility. Your client will notice the calculation adjustment with each answer. So in the event I am 120%, which we're going to talk about that too. If I'm 120% area median income buyer and I am searching in a low to moderate income area, there are low to moderate income programs that are not income specific, but there are more programs that I would be eligible for if I was an 80% area median income buyer. Here we are, resources. Provide your clients with the knowledge needed for a successful transaction. And these are the resources that you'll want to be able to provide your clients with. So we get this question all the time, Letitia, what in the world is an AMI? So I think it happens in every industry, and our industry is no different. We come with all of these abbreviations, acronyms for these words that should mean something and that we should spell out or we should say out, but we don't. And AMI is simple. It's area median income. And now that we have a chart, so everyone will now have access to this chart. This is the chart that's been published by HUD. This chart it's updated as recent as June 15th. So June 15th, there was an increase. How do they gain this data? This is census data. So this is some data that the government gathers, and they publish this area median income chart for us to be able to utilize. This particular chart only breaks it down for 50%. extremely low, and 80%. So extremely low is the 50%. So if you ever hear anyone say, well, the AMI is extremely low or very low, I'm sorry, you know that they're speaking of 50%. Low is 80%, and moderate would be 120%. Each tier is based on household size. For an example, if you are a household of 2 and you're making an attempt to qualify for a program that is a low to moderate income program, that means as a household, you cannot make over $59,650. Now, what is included in that? Because I'm sure we're going to have some questions, and I'm going to pull down the chat while I answer or while I speak here. What is included in income? Let's say that I am a single woman with a child. I work and my child receives child support. In addition to that, I have a side business. Maybe I am a professional cook, and I said that loosely because I am far from a professional cook. But my annual salary at my regular job or at my payroll job is $40,000 a year. Often, my clients believe that the only income that we would use would be that $40,000 a year. That is inaccurate. Household income is every penny that comes into the household that is accounted for, or any deposits that are made into your bank account frequently. And frequent can be as often as once a month. So if you get regular $100 a month deposits into your bank account, that would be considered income. And the answer to that question is yes, it is gross. So my gross income is $40,000, and I received a total child support $5,000 a year. And then my side business brings me in $10,000 a year. So we have $55,000 is my income. At $55,000 for a household of 2, I do qualify for the low income limits. So hopefully everyone understands that now. In addition to that, if I have someone that is residing in my home and I am charging them rent, and they make regular deposits into my banking account every month, it's coming from the same source and it's over $100 every month, the down payment assistance program will see that, and that will be considered household income. So that is going to be your City of Houston, your Harris County programs. Your bond programs, which would be your TDHCA, your TSHAC, and your SEF, many of those programs only utilize or only require you to utilize the income that is reported for the purpose of obtaining a loan. So if I have a spouse and I am not utilizing my spouse's income, then I do not have to, that doesn't disqualify me for the down payment assistance program. It's kind of hard when I do this on a webinar to see if everyone's nodding or shaking their head or like looking confused, but it's okay. Put your questions in the chat and I will be sure to address those questions as we go along, because it is important that everyone gains a clear understanding of what it is that I'm talking about when we speak about LMI, AMI, and all of those things, okay? Next slide. You have located a program, and you've located a program because you found it utilizing down payment resource. Now, what do? You schedule a one-on-one consult with your client. Here's when you're getting to know the client. So I did just kind of briefly give you a buyer profile. So me as a buyer, I was the buyer that made $40,000 a year. I was the mother of 1 with child support. I worked a side business. I lived currently in Montrose area, renting a garage apartment. My daughter attends school in the area. What else would I want to know? Basically, this is your get to know your client phase. It is when you're working with down payment assistance programs, it is more important that you get to know your client, because you need to be able to connect them with down payment assistance. Each of these programs are pretty intense. So what you don't want to do is send a client to Harris County that really needs to be sent to the City of Houston. How do you avoid that? by getting to know your client. What are they looking for and where do they want it? If you pay taxes, and this is a very popular question, well, how do I know if it's a city program or if it's a county program? How do you know if it qualifies for one versus the other? Well, it is very simple. If the property pays taxes to the city of anything, the city of Houston, the city of Humble, the city of Missouri City, the city itself supersedes the county. So if it pays to the city of Houston and Harris County, the property qualifies for Harris County Down Payment Assistance Program. There used to be a saying when I started in the business that if the property is located outside of the Beltway, then that means that it's a county. Inside the Beltway, you were pretty sure that it was the city, until there came Kingwood, which Kingwood is the city of Houston. So that one qualifies for the city of Houston's Down Payment Assistance Program. So we can't just use that as an example. We definitely have to do our due diligence and check the tax roll. We can do that through Realist, or we can do that through the CAD. Either one would be able to provide us with the information that we need, in addition to utilizing down payment resource. Connect with a lender and a HUD counseling agency. Where do you find your service providers that will get you to the finish line? And we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about that. Obtain a program approval letter. So, and I'll tell you guys a funny story about the program approval letter. The program approval letter is something totally different from your approval letter. So we list for Houston Land Bank, Habitat, the Chodo program, and the non-traditional and traditional Houston Land Bank program. So we'll say in our listing to send over the pre-approval letter and the program approval letter. And we'll get an agent that is super excited and they'll say, oh, we have the approval, we have the approval letter. So you have the program approval letter? Yes, we have it. The client is getting FHA. And I'm like, that is your lending program. However, we need the program approval letter. And we'll talk a little bit more in detail about that. But just keep that in mind that it is two different things. So we talked about your one-on-one consults. If you've not done so, this is the good time to establish a needs list from your client. Now, what we know about down payment assistance and LMI buyers and LMI areas and AMI, the very low, what we know about that is often there is a disconnection. HGTV came in and just messed up our world, but somebody's getting paid a lot of money, so I'm not gonna hate on them, but they have shown our clients that they can qualify for something that does not exist in today's market. So when we talk about a needs list, it is so important in this particular group to be as detailed as you can with providing them with the information and the knowledge so that they understand. Oh, LMI, I'll say that. I will see, I told you I'll get started and there'll be some things that I just kind of blow right over. It's kind of like, this is hilarious. So growing up, we would see RX. I would always say, what in the world is an RX? As a kid, I had no clue that meant prescription. Well, they use that and it's like it should be common knowledge in the pharmaceutical industry, but I had no clue what RX was. And I don't know if it was many of you that did as well, but that's just something funny to share. So LMI is low to moderate income. Okay, so here we are. Now we've established a needs list. And what are our clients looking for in a home? What area are they considering to be in? Those items that are going to be important, again, so that we can make sure we direct them to the proper program. Program approval versus lending pre-approval letter for follow-up letter. I don't know that I understand that one. Program approval versus lending pre-approval. So, so what I will say, if I understand that question correctly, program approval would be the down payment assistance program that the buyer is seeking. with the exception of the bond programs, the TDHCA, the TSHAG, the SIF. If they're utilizing City of Houston HAP, that's one letter. If they're utilizing City of Houston HLB, which is the Houston Land Bank, that's a different letter. If they're utilizing the CHODO program, that's another letter. If they're doing Harris County, which is what we'll dive into a little bit deeper today, that is a different letter as well. So each of them have their own letter, which is where it can get a little confusing. Okay. Now we want to connect them with a lender and a counselor. Here's what we all need to understand. You're welcome. Not all lenders are created equal in the space of down payment assistance. We can work with amazing lenders. We have a plethora of lenders. We have brokers, we have mortgage bankers. We have so many lenders, and I'll tell you, I've worked with some awesome lenders that are not experienced in down payment assistance. And that is, as we would say, that is no shade to those lenders. But what I will say is you are doing your client a disservice if you do not partner them with someone that is familiar with the programs and or the products that they are interested in. Many of the down payment assistance programs, they actually have a link to preferred lenders. And even following that up with a phone call would be important. Depending on the down payment assistance program a client is utilizing may determine which lender will be most appropriate for you to send them to. Again, always remember that not all lenders are created equal in the world of down payment assistance. HUD has also, HUD will become your best friend when you're working with down payment assistance. HUD has a link that will provide you with all of the counseling agencies all the way down to the county that you're located in. So, of course, HUD is national, so they have down payment assistance classes that can be taken everywhere. Buyer will say to me, Letitia, do I need to take an 8-hour class to qualify for this program? The answer is yes. That 8 hours that you will spend on that day will open the door to every program that exists, okay? City of Houston alone has 6 different down payment assistance programs. Harris County has 3 different ones. Down payment assistance ranging upwards of $150,000. So in perspective, if I had to give 8 hours, 6 hours in a classroom and 2 hours one-on-one establishing my budget, I would, if we were on a regular Zoom, I would ask everyone to raise your hand and tell me if you are willing to give up 8 hours out of your life for up to $150,000. Yes, there we go. We see the hands. We see the hands. So in that perspective, that is one of the ways to talk to your clients. And of course, I am also going to address it from both perspectives because I mostly represent the sellers these days. So I'm going to talk to you about how do you sell this to a seller and how do you sell this to a seller that is unfamiliar and an agent that is unfamiliar with utilizing down payment assistance. As an agent, do you need to do the 8-hour class as well? The answer to that question is no. It is up to you if you would like to, but the 8-hour class is going to teach them about home buying, period, not about down payment assistance. It will cover it. Many of the housing counseling agencies have set aside a brief period in their class to where they will go over some of the down payment assistance products. However, it is not the counselor's responsibility to expose your clients to all of the programs that are out there. They kind of leave that to you because sometimes they will counsel cross county. And so all of the programs that are available to them in their county may not be available to the buyer in the other county. So they will have a very small segment potentially for down payment assistance. But for the majority, it's just talking to them about home ownership. It's also talking to them about post-closing, so maintenance, and how to get approved. So that's the biggest key points during that class that they will discuss. Now, the only program that requires an online eHome America class is SEF. They're the only ones that will not take any home buyer education certificate. And the way this 8 hours work is 6 hours in the classroom. Some of the options are virtual. So you can do a virtual, but your one-on-one, which would go over your personal budget. So the 6 hours that you're sitting in class is just general information. Many of the counselors bring in different professionals from the industry. For an example, they'll have an insurance agent, they'll have a licensed real estate professional, they'll have a lender, they'll have an inspector, and they'll all come in and they'll talk about their part of the home buying process. And then at the end, you'll sign up, or the following day, or at some point, you'll sign up for a one-on-one. As a consumer doing that one-on-one, you'll go over budgeting, you'll go over credit, and you'll just talk about what it will take for you to get an approval. So they can qualify for multiple programs. The answer to that question is yes, absolutely. You may qualify for multiple programs. The certificate is your key into the door. So you can go into whichever room you'd like. If you want to go into the room of City of Houston, you can. If you want to go into the room of Harris County, you can. Okay. Only if they take the class from HUD. So it has to be HUD certified. The class must be a HUD certified class. And again, the link that you will be provided in this presentation takes you directly to HUD's website, and HUD will give you all of the options in your county. The approval letter. Your lender's approval letter should indicate the assistance program associated with the loan. What does this do? An example, when a buyer, and two, it kind of assists you in monitoring and ensuring that your buyer isn't all over the place. I've had clients come to me and say, okay, well, I want a good price on a good house. And I say, great. There are good houses all over Houston. Where do you want to be? Because knowing where you want to be is going to determine if we go to city, if we go to county, if we go to Montgomery, if we go, then we ask about Montgomery County, rural counties surrounding Houston, included in these programs. Absolutely, rural counties are included. Montgomery County has an amazing program. And then we said, good morning, I've come in late, but I am here. Hi, Dante. How do I check in? I am not sure how to answer that question. I'm going to leave that to HAR's professionals. We are just on the approval letter, and the approval letter indicating which assistance program your buyer is associated with. This lets everyone know, based on your qualification. Again, we're going to go back to the scenario that I gave you, me being a single mother, $40,000 a year, living in Montrose. Montrose is inside the city of Houston, and I want to stay as close to my daughter's school as possible. So this particular one is going to be located in the city of Houston. And let's just now say that I want to be able to purchase a home that's not associated with the Chodo New Home Development Program and or Houston Land Bank. So my approval letter is going to be through City of Houston HAP, H-A-P. So my lender is going to qualify me based on the guidelines that are written by City of Houston's HAP. By this point, I will have worked with the City of Houston to obtain my approval from the City of Houston, and they will have told me that I will obtain up to $50,000 in down payment assistance. My lender is going to base my pre-approval letter or my approval letter based on that $50,000 assistance that is granted to me by the City of Houston HAP. So when you as a licensed professional, as a realtor, receives that pre-approval letter, you will know that the buyer is now approved for $260,000, but their loan amount is $225,000, because the difference is going to come from HAP. Why is this so important to you? It's so important to you because you know that you've seen that they're getting the 50. You will now know that this does not mean that they qualify for $310,000. The lender has already taken into consideration that $50,000 that's offered to them, and they've designated that some of it will go to closing costs and some of it will go to down payment. How long does a pre-approval last from the programs? And they vary, but it's between 60 and 90 days. I tell my clients, don't let it expire. You've gone through too much. Okay. Property tours. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most important things to know when you're working with down payment assistance. No one will, well, not no one, bond programs will. City of Houston, Harris County, anyone that has to do an inspection on the property will not provide you with a grant if the property is a fixer-upper and or if the property conditions are not safe and livable. So when you're doing your property tour, what are you looking for? Very similar to what you're looking for with FHA. No broken windows, missing flooring, chipped wood. You're also wanting to make sure that something is minor. The city of Houston has hit us several times on insulation in the attic door, not in the attic, but the attic door itself. Ant beds around the property. Ant beds around the property. Someone says this isn't just for first-time home buyers, right? First-time home, many of the programs are very specific that you have to be a first-time home buyer, but some of the guidelines will allow you to be, you just can't currently own a home. So check the guidelines to determine if your buyer qualifies. But ant beds, it's important to look for those because ants are also wood-destroying insects. And if there's an ant bed that's sitting right at the slab, those ants could crawl through and they can destroy the property. The property has to be move-in ready. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And if ever there is any confusion, it would be important to share with the listing agent that your buyer is utilizing the down payment assistance program that will require the home to be in a specific condition. Based on my observation, the home looks great. However, I just want to be sure that your seller is willing to work with my buyer in the event there are any required repairs by the program. I think that was good. Write that down. Because if someone called me and told me that, I'd say, oh, no problem. So your property tools will be just a little bit different for individual utilizing down payment assistance than it would be for your standard market buyer. If you're, like I said, again, FHA, oh, you can do FHA or conventional with down payment assistance. But if you were doing an FHA, you know that the property needs to be in a certain condition to move forward with FHA. I know it's like I'm here on this webinar, like laughing to myself, just like I am in this picture. So let's talk specifics on these programs, right? So what we have is a little basket with some change in it. And it's funny, when I selected this picture, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Because this means maybe we're talking about a buyer that doesn't have a whole lot of money, you know? So I kind of got excited and I wanted to be sure that I use it somehow, some way. And then I figured I'd be a little lonely on a webinar, which is how I'm feeling now, because I don't have an audience. I can't see your faces or hear your comments, but keep me entertained in the chat, please, or I'll be forced to entertain myself, which is also not a problem because I am an only child. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So let's talk about our buyer profile. Oh, someone said me too. Love it. Okay, guys. Oh, someone said you're doing great. Thank you. Buyer profile. Now, this is a real person, by the way. So, thank you, John. This is a real live person. Income and household size. Monthly income is $2,738 a month. Annual $32,856, and it's a two-person household. Now, I am so mad. I was never told about this when I bought my house. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Felicia. Okay, now this is where I'm going to require some interaction because I have a little time. And I was told that this is my webinar. I can do what I want. So here's what I'm going to do. Based on this buyer's profile, $2,738 a month. Go ahead and flood me with your comments. Do you think she can buy a house? And I'll wait. Someone, the people that are saying yes is because we're here on this webinar. I see lots of yes. And then I see a few no's. So my no person, yes, oh, stretched, they're stretched, okay. Now, I'm gonna add a second caveat. Their desired location is Cypress to Katy. What do you think about that? Someone said, not sure how. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, too broad. Yes, okay. And then the approval amount was $220,000. Now the approval amount, this is a stretch. Nope, no homes available for $220,000. Absolutely. And I say the approval amount, this is their loan. Their loan was $220. That's what they were approved for. Okay, now let's get into it. Did this person purchase a home? Absolutely. Their list price on their home was $295,000. And what did they use? They used the Harris County new construction single family home. Oh, got a 200,000. And we'll talk about that one a little bit today. Thank y'all for giving us some specifics to talk about. What in the world is this program? And what does it do? Sales price reduction of up to 45%. It's like when I found out about this program, I was like, am I going shopping for an outfit or something? 45% discount is like whenever I go to, even when I go to Ross, I don't care what store it is. The first place that I go is to the clearance rack. So treat this like your clearance rack. So if I were working with a client that was low to moderate income, oh, someone's beat me. Guys, y'all are getting ahead of me. Full closing costs, wow. Okay, if I was searching for a client that had a low approval amount, I would go to the discount rack. And this is your discount rack. So a price reduction up to 45%, full closing cost assistance, mortgage point buy down, because interest rate had gone up. If your client needed to buy their interest rate down in order to qualify for the program actually assists in that buy down. So no, you do not have to use your down payment assistance money to buy your interest rate down. It is separate money. Up to $35,000 in down payment assistance. This is not an and or. This is in addition to on a needs base. Buyer must be 80% AMI. Debt to income ratio front end is 39% and back end is 42%. The program is designed to ensure that your buyer's front end ratio and back end ratio meets that qualification. Now, if with the 45% price reduction, if we cannot get your front end ratio down to 39%, then you may need to consider another program. But if with that reduction, it may be a little bit of buying your points down. If it gets you to 39%, then this program works for your buyer. Now, what is a DTI? For those of you that may not be familiar, because I am speaking to you in lending terms. And I think it may be important for me. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you for putting it in the chat. Perfect. So I think it may be important for me to kind of point out as well that prior to going into real estate full time, I spent a little time in lending. I was a loan processor. So some of these terms I may say as well that may not be real estate terms necessarily. But DTI, that is absolutely right. It is your debt to income ratio. And what you would do is you would take your monthly income and multiply it. Oh, by the way, if Stephanie is out there listening, I failed to tell you all that I taught 6th grade math for 3 years. She gives me a hard time about that all the time. But this is where this whole calculation thing comes in. You take your income and you multiply it by 0.39 or 39%. And that's how you come up with your maximum. So if we were to use my young lady that the scenario that I gave you, and I can't remember exactly what her income was, but I think it was like $2,738. And we multiply that by 39%, that means her mortgage payment cannot exceed $1,067.82. Okay, back end, of course, is 42%, but that back end would include that mortgage payment plus every other monthly payment that they have that shows up on their credit report. They pay daycare, nobody cares about that. But here's your website. And screenshot it, save it, wait for the presentation, whatever it is, but be sure that you check this website out as often as you can, just so that you know what product they have. Now, here is, remember we talked about that program approval letter? This is it. This letter is to inform you that Harris County Single Family New Construction Program has reviewed, they've completed their review of your option contract offer. And it tells you, what is she getting? She got a price reduction of $52,000. Oh, yes, I can go back one. Sorry for those of you that are ahead. There you go. Okay. Okay. So her closing cost totaled $20,176. So that meant that she basically needed that much more money for her closing costs. And it gave her a total silent second lien for $72,176. Now, what in the world is a silent second? A silent second means if you abide by the terms and the whatever the restrictions are of the program, that after a certain amount of time, it will be forgiven. So it is a second lien. This is how they ensure that you abide by the required terms. It is forgivable. However, in the event you sell your home, refinance, I don't know what else you can do with the house. Either you sell it or you refinance it, I don't know. Then you have to pay the money back. And if it were me, I'm gonna stay there. $72,000 is a lot of money and it's free, right? Now, this is only one program. This is not everything that she received to make this happen. Now, we just did a calculation. Anybody remember what I told you her monthly mortgage payment had to be? Yep. Okay. Good deal. I'm seeing that people are remembering what the mortgage payment had to be. So right now, the monthly payment for this particular house at $295,000 was $2,436. That exceeds her front end debt to income ratio. That means that this home would have been unaffordable without the additional resources that I'm going to share with you. Now, for $295,000 and a mortgage payment of $2,436, is that not alone good? So for many of our buyers, yes, that would be all that they need. But for her particularly, because she is considered a very low income, then she needs more help. And we're going to kind of talk about the more help that she received. How long do you have to live in there before it's forgiven? It depends on how much funds you receive. The time frame for the maximum time frame for many of our programs is 20 years. The smallest is 5. So it's anywhere between 5 and 20 years, and it will all depend on the amount of funds you receive from any specific program. Okay. This is a big gap, yeah, between 5 and 20. So the CHODO program, if you receive over $50,000 in down payment assistance, I believe it's 50,000, you have to stay for 20 years. What if you decide to rent it out? Yeah. I'm going to be very careful how I answer this question. So the guidelines state that you are to occupy the property the entire time. That's what the guidelines state. Oh, Gabby's like, what? Okay, so resources that we use. These are the resources that we use to get this young lady in this home. She used the Harris County New Home Construction Program. And I made sure I listed the websites for every one of them. She used the Covenant Community Capital Program. She used the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And she used the Mortgage Credit Certificate Program. Now, the one program that is not just open to the general public is the Housing Choice Voucher Program. But it is important for everybody to know that an individual that is utilizing the Housing Choice Voucher Program can actually purchase a home. And what they would have to do is they would have to convert their rental vouchers over into a purchase voucher. They would need to be on the program for a minimum of 1 year, which also means they have to have a rental voucher. And they would need to talk to their caseworker about converting their voucher from the rental over to the purchase. And in doing so, there are specific guidelines that they must do. They must have, I believe now that they're setting a minimum credit score of a 620. They are also required to have $1,000 in the bank. They must have a loan approval. So if you have clients, all of us have worked with renters. If you have placed a renter into a property, go back, especially when that is on Section 8, go back, let them know that they have the opportunity to purchase a home. They are sent this information. I sit on one of the advisory committees with housing, and they send out notices at every recertification that they are eligible for home ownership. But information that is just sent out and it doesn't concern recertification, I do believe that is overlooked. So if they hear from you, they are more likely to explore it. Okay. And then the one thing that is so often overlooked is that MCC, that Mortgage Credit Certificate Program. It is one of the best kept secrets. I use that one. It's like I wrote a class called Ways to Save Your Deal, and MCC had become one of those ways to save your deal. How many of us have worked with a client that have been like $50 over their DTI? MCC is what saves my $50 client. And when you're looking at a client that's in a low to moderate income space, $50 can make or break a deal. So don't pass up MCC. It's like I use MCC like Frank's Red Hot sauce, right? I put that on everything, okay? As you should probably too. And it does not require any extra work. It is one of the easiest down payment assistance programs that is out there. And over the life of the loan, it pays out more than any other one will. It is a Mortgage Credit Certificate Program, and it's the last one, the MCC. That's what it stands for. And I also added the link there. So I'll give everybody an opportunity to screenshot, save, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you get the links to all these programs so I can show you how we were able to make this happen for this young lady who is so excited. You're welcome. Okay. Our buyer's monthly payment was $864 a month. I was expecting my chat to blow up, is what I was actually expecting. Someone said, I need that, me too. Yeah, I need it as well. I love this. This is probably, let's see, I'm here now, about to blow it up. Is there a way to get the presentation? There absolutely is. Yes, that is correct. $864 for a $295,000 house. How long does it usually take to get approval for these programs? See, now here are the questions. They're coming in, now they're flooding in. Why, what, when, how, questions, answers, what in the world? How long does it take? So I will tell y'all, this Harris County New Home Construction Program, when I started this program, it was it's very new. So always make note. When you're working with something new, counsel your clients. Let them know, guys. This is the difference between obtaining a home and not. Okay. And please keep in mind that it may take a little bit longer. The product is provided by the county. The program is the county. Okay. So just keep that in mind. This particular one was supposed to close in November. and she did not close until March. Okay. However, her mortgage payment was $864. There was no other program. Got to have your conversation with Letitia as your contact now. There is no other program that would have allowed her to ever purchase a home in Katy Crossing. And then those of you that do not know what Katy Crossing is, it is in Katy. It is off of 99. There would not have been any other program. So what I had to do was consult with her as she was getting frustrated, as she was getting exhausted with the amount of time she had to submit this document, that document. I just had to let her know, based on the market, there is nothing else out there. Okay. Now that's just one program. Do all of the programs take that long? Absolutely not. But here's the blessing with that program. The one thing that you do not have to worry about is the seller saying, oh no, this is taking too long, because the seller is the county. It is their property. It is their program. So they are in total control of how long it takes for you to get in there, okay? That's one program. And before I start talking too much, that is the only program I am instructed by the Affordable Housing Committee to share with you guys today. There are so many more, but here's what I will tell you. Once you have obtained an approval, do some research. You get an approval for a buyer. I tell my lenders, don't tell my buyers that they can't buy a house. I actually got an approval last week for a buyer that is approved for a loan amount of $165,000. No problem to me, because we have a CHODO program. The homes are like $238,000. Now, granted, they can only purchase a home either in City Gas or in Acres Homes. However, if home ownership is the goal, we could find your house. And that $165,000 approval will give them a 2,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, new construction home with a 2-car garage. Okay, so don't tell them that they can't purchase. The key is going to be if they're going to be purchasing in their desired location. And if your approval letter is that low, there may not need to be a desired location. Okay, so these are for new builds. So while they are building the house, all the paperwork is getting lined up. Where do we find these houses? So the answer is yes, these are new builds. And I'll tell you more about the program and how the properties are obtained. So Harris County has a buyer, and for the lack of a better term, they have a true job title for them, but I'm going to call it a buyer. And I don't know why I revert to fashion all the time. So excuse me, because I went to the sales rack and everything else. But anyways, Harris County has a buyer. The buyer goes out and they scout new construction homes that will qualify for their program. They find builders such as Syntex, D.R. Horton, and I think they're in negotiation with Lennar. They will negotiate the purchase of a bulk of properties. And by bulk, I mean between 16 to 30 properties. They will purchase them from the builder. They will close on them, and they will put them in their inventory. Once they're in their inventory, they will open them up to the public and to the buyers, and the buyers will have the opportunity to bid on the homes or to submit an offer on the homes. First come, first serve. So you're getting your paperwork in order, not for the homes to be complete, but for you to gain access to the homes that are indeed available. Where do you find the homes? I'm going to take it back just a little bit, and there is your website right there. harrisrecovery.org/SFNCP. That is going to be your single family new construction program. Now that is how the program itself works. And on the back side, But as far as your buyer is concerned, we have a buyer now going through the program. And right now he is at submit your driver's license for review on the application. Once he's done that, they submit it to him the next step. Oh, even on the site, it gives you the steps and how it works. Then he goes on to step 2. And from step 2, we'll wait on his approval letter. Once he receives his approval letter, we'll look at the homes that are available, schedule an appointment, just like a standard purchase, schedule an appointment, go out, take a look at the properties that are available, and quickly notify Harris County that this is the property address that he is interested in. They will then give me what's called an option contract, and it's a 60-day option contract. We will enter into that option contract. The buyer will have the opportunity to finalize their loan, to work out their, to do their inspections. And after that is done, we will then enter into a standard TREC contract, and then we can close within 30 days from that point. But all of that is on their website. So I think I kept it 3 minutes under an hour. So now you guys have me for another 30 minutes if you need it for your questions. I know that there's a lot of questions that's just kind of, people are like, well, what do I do for this? Even if we want to talk specific buyer profile, hey, Letitia, I have this buyer, and I think maybe we can give it about 15 minutes. Letitia, I have this buyer. This is my buyer profile. Can you tell me where to take them and what to do? Maybe I missed it, but I'm trying to find out, once they get the link and apply, what do they do next? The next steps are actually in the site. Letitia, you are delightful. Come on now, look, I like that. And an amazing source of very valuable information. Thank you for today. Thank you for your comment. I really appreciate that. She's the best. Oh, I know my bio said it, but I wrote it, so I can't, I can't go by that. Okay, so as an agent, if we have a customer client, does the county pay us a commission to refer them? Oh, you're not referring them. The county does pay you a commission, but you are working with them as an agent. Now, if you're looking to just refer them out, you can refer them to an agent that is familiar with down payment assistance, and then you can get a referral commission, but the county isn't taking your client and walking them through the program. You are going to be their agent. Do you know the percentage? The county pays a standard commission based off of the sales price less the assistance. 2.5. No, it's a 3. Okay. But it's not the sales price. So keep that in mind. But again, here we are. Look at what we're talking about. We're talking about buyers based on the profile of the client that I gave you would not be able to purchase a home at all. So you're looking at 0 commission. Okay, is it the same day of closing? Oh, a funding, just standard. Love you, lady. You are great. Gotta run. See you later, Gabby. Love you too, honey. Anyone having any specific, because it's 1 o'clock. If you have a specific buyer of concern, beautiful smiling energy, so positive and bubbly, very informative. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Yes, you will be receiving the recording. Yes, I would definitely suggest that they start with the lender first before, well, it depends. Again, your lender is your complement. So it depends on your knowledge of the programs. I suggest my buyers come in and meet with me first, and then we go and seek a lender. I'll be looking in the Austin area. It's going too fast. It's going too fast for me, sorry. Let's see. I stopped at the Austin area.
She said she's going to be looking at the Austin area for her daughter, and hopefully there is a program like this in that area.
So use down payment resource. Use that. It will tell you about the programs in the area. Absolutely, it will be there. Did I miss any more?
There is people saying that they are going to email you with some questions and see if they can work together with you.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
And then there is someone, and apology if you answered this already, but it says that a buyer can get approved for multiple programs. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So the slide, let me go back. The buyer used all of those programs.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So no more than 7 programs.
Yeah.
Qualify, they're in.
Yeah, that's right. Stack it all up. See, what is my email?
We're gonna put that information, and I will send you information via email as well once I send the recording, so everybody has it.
Perfect. So Jean did send me over an email of a particular client that is approved for $200,000. I believe that they are on the Housing Choice Voucher Program. The question for that is, and these are some of the questions that you'll want to go back and ask. In the event your buyer is approved for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, did they submit their approval, their Housing Choice Voucher packet to their lender? So that's the first question. And did the lender utilize that information in preparing that approval? If they indeed did, then and their loan amount is definitely $200,000. What area of town are they looking to be in? Are they looking in an area that pays taxes to the city of Houston or to Harris County? From there, you'd be able to assist them with what programs. They're looking in the Cypress area. So the program that I just disclosed to you is probably going to be one of the top programs to qualify for. The second will be Harris County DAP, and that is Harris County's Down Payment Assistance Program, where they can purchase a home anywhere in Harris County that does not pay taxes to the city of. They also need to work with Covenant Community Capital IDA matching program. For every dollar that they put in, Covenant will match them $1 up to $2. And then you will want to make sure that their lender works with the MCC program.
Do buyers have to apply for all the resources separately?
They will, yeah. It becomes like a mini job, like it's almost like a part-time job, right? So the IDA program is it's a 3 to 6 month program. So and you have up to 6 months to deposit. You can deposit up to $2,000, and they're going to match you. So it's really like a 401k. So in 6 months, if you're able to get $2,000 deposited in incremental deposits, they're giving you $2 free $1,000. Now, I mean, again, my buyer made $2,000 in a whole month. It doesn't take you a month worth of work to get, right? And then, so that's the IDA program. The MCC, the lender will do that for you. And also the bond programs, the lender will do those for you if you're qualifying for bond. But you would have to qualify for the county by itself if you're going to utilize the county, or if you're going to utilize the city, you would have to qualify for that one separately.
Okay.
Love it. Good deal.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, for that comment. That is very important. Helping families get their dream house.
So the bond programs, most of the bond programs do not specifically state. Some of them state how long that they have to live in. Each one of them are different. Keep in mind, TDHCA has, I think, 3 different ones, and so does TSHAC. All of them come with their own guidelines. So just be sure that you understand what those guidelines are, and it will tell you that the buyer has to live in there for so long, or they have to pay the money back. And the buyers get kind of concerned. They're like, oh my goodness, well, I have to pay this money back. Well, keep in mind, you've already gained the equity from that. So you're technically not paying it out of your pocket. It's just coming from your equity. And then, can any mortgage broker do these transactions, or only approved ones? So So with the bond programs, they have to actually apply to be on the bond list. So yes, they would have to do that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they have to pay to be a participant with the bond programs. But as far as the city and the county programs are concerned, as a real estate professional, I do not want to work with a lender that has never done them before, especially if I have never done them before. So you're gonna set your buyer up, and you don't want to do that, especially if you're not purchasing it from a program that has the property. Because when we start talking about working with, when we're working with a seller that is not familiar with the program, you need to be knowledgeable enough to explain to them what they're going to be looking forward to throughout this process. The approved lenders for the programs are actually on the program sites. So when you go to Harris County site, Harris County has a list of approved lenders there. And if you're not getting what you need, send me an email and I'll send you some references. How long does it normally take for the approval? Depends on which program you're applying for. The Houston Land Bank program is probably the shortest approval I have witnessed. It has taken them about 3 weeks to give me income certification. But the income certification allows the buyer to qualify for the properties that are, that particular program, the builders purchase the lots at a discounted rate, and the sales price somewhere between $180,000 to $215,000 for the sales price. The buyer does not get down payment assistance with that, but they must income certify. So that one is probably about 3 weeks. So that was the shortest one.
What will be the longest one?
The longest one is probably going to be that Harris County one that I just shared.
Yeah.
That one has been the longest one. Yeah. I started with the hardest one first. The next time we do this, we'll do some easy stuff.
Hey, whatever it takes to get people into their homes.
That's right. That's right. Well, that for me concludes my presentation. If we don't have any other questions, I mean,
I will go to closing comments. If we see another question come in, we'll be happy to answer those. Thank you so much, Leticia, for doing this for us. This was great. A lot of great information, a lot of comments saying that you're great, which I totally agree.
Thank you.
And I hope this is the beginning of a partnership with HAR, because I believe these programs are very important and you're very knowledgeable about all of them. So thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone that joined us today that was able to let us know any questions that they had and interacted with us. Thank you so much. Don't forget that we have a webinar coming up in July, an AI series with Kaylee Lenz. I'm gonna put the link to register for that in the bio. It's all about AI that is taking the real estate industry by storm. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those links in the chat. And if you have any questions for Leticia, this is your last call. But if not, I hope to see everybody in July for our AI webinar series. And then thank you again, Leticia. You'll get the recording for this webinar and feel free to share it with everyone that needs it, which I believe everybody should be informed about these programs.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was such an honor.
Absolutely. We hope to see you soon again, Leticia.
Will do.
Bye, everyone.